So hello everyone, we are back live at the Causeway Scrabble Challenge 2016. This is round 38 of 45 and we're about to see a game between the two top rated players in the field. That's David Eldar of Australia and Nigel Richards of New Zealand. These two guys are not only the top rated players in the field, but I think Jesse Matthews, you'd agree that they've given us the best quality of play on table one out of the players we've had a chance to watch so far, with Mark Nyman of the United Kingdom not too far behind.
Yeah, it's been very consistent play from both of these gents on the top board, so I would have to agree. In the long haul, the series between these two definitely of the highest quality, but we have seen some individual quality matches from some other pairings up here.
So we've got tiles on racks with Nigel Richards on 25 wins, playing David Eldar on 25 wins. Dave has pulled out Regnant on his first rack.
Never hurts.
Nigel with no obvious 5-tile play. Might be looking at Obia for 12, and otherwise might even consider a cheeky change to keep AD. I think I'd probably go for Obia. So no trouble for Dave getting his bingo down here.
There goes Regnant as a parallel play. Of course, with the P hook for pregnant.
And for those of you interested in current standings, you can find them up at causewaychallenge.com. The round 37 results are all there, and that's current. And for that reason, I'm not going to give you anything detailed, just to say that these two are the only ones on 25. Harshan Lamabadasuria of the UK, who's had a good 2 days, is the only one on 24, one game off the pace. And there are two players, Esther Perrins and Mark Nyman. They're 2 games off the pace. Mark, of course, has a poor margin of minus 359. And because Dave has been held for the last 2 rounds, the field has closed in a bit. We have 8 games to play, and the whole top 10 is within 4 of the lead. And that includes some very strong players, including Alistair Richards, Andrew Fisher, 2 Thai players, Tacha Anjakrit and Ayurinder Saidru of Nigeria. Meanwhile, Nigel Richards pulled out a slightly better rack than his opening rack, and he has gone for Diatribe, unsurprisingly, as a high-scoring double-double. Giving him a handy 34-point lead as both players draw random racks.
Nigel's got Toharoa on his rack as a nice pull out of the bag.
That's a beautiful pull.
He's got that at G8 as one possible place to play.
Yep. And interestingly, I walked past Dave. He he seemed to not be relishing the thought of playing Nigel these last 2 games of the day. He had a slightly more defeatist attitude than I'm used to seeing from him. Did you see that as well, Jesse?
Yeah, when we were outside looking at the standings and chatting with a few of the players.
So I think he was a bit disappointed by that loss to Esther Perrins, where he knew very well that he'd outplayed her. And then he knows he didn't do much, if anything, wrong there against Nigel in the last game as well. And those games are a bit hard, the ones where you know you played well and lost, and he's had 2 of them on the bounce. And he knows he's got every chance of losing the next 2 against a player like Nigel. So after his charmed run in the morning and early afternoon, he's been brought back to earth a little bit here, and he's a little bit downbeat between those 2 games. He's got nice plays here though. Nothing wrong with Feud over to the east.
I was looking at that as a high candidate option here.
He wants to get rid of that U, pronto basically.
Yeah, it's worth noting, like Kenji said, Eldar does respect Nigel greatly. Whether it's probably too much, that's probably a matter of personal opinion. But it is true that Eldar does speak very highly of Nigel and his strategy, so certainly.
Well, I think he considers Nigel his main teacher in terms of strategy. He'd probably be looking for doubles here, not necessarily the bingo, but using 5 tiles. I haven't spotted one. Let us know in the chat if you have.
So with that play of feud, we can expect Toharoa to come down from Nigel fairly fast, I would say.
Yeah, I like that move from Dave. No fear, and that's just right. And every chance of a decent bingo reply here if he draws okay. Toharoa will accept an S, and there's the D, as well as all the other floaters on the board. And here goes Nigel.
So, yeah, great play from Nigel.
Yeah, Kenji, I forgot to mention, I had noticed that Dave could have just played FEU setting up his D. Would have been a nice play, and we've seen him do things like that already today.
The EGAD/BGAD setup, his most notable one earlier in the day, putting Mark very much on tilt that game. And David's drawn nicely here with E-Cutes blank.
So very easy bingos, of course, but he's going to have a little look to see if he can make a triple-triple.
And wow. Nigel also pulling very well.
And this could be interesting if Dave ends up playing row 15. Does Nigel have a triple-triple? I'm not going to put it into Zizifer for a while because I want to see if I can find things. Found things, by which I mean triple-triples. Any luck on your end, Jesse?
No triple-triples over here either. I'm looking for things like monomial, but that doesn't go down. Trying to find other options instead. A motion, of course, in the rack as a 7. Crazily enough, I started looking through the TON and the EAT.
Ready.
You can't help but be inspired by these players who are finding wonderful plays creatively like that. So
I don't think we've seen a 9 on the top table yet.
We have not, no, but certainly on other tables.
Oh yeah. I love Dave's play of Luxuriate with a blank X.
Yeah, that was
yesterday.
Nice.
So having cracked and put Nigel's tiles into Ziziva, I see that he does have an 8 that plays through the D, but just the 1, and it ain't a triple-triple. So the danger of him going to a completely insurmountable lead here is mitigated by that.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah. As for Dave, again, no 9-timer is on. But bingos with the D. So we can expect to see, well, it'll be an interesting choice actually. Let me ask the pundits out there, where should Dave play? Should he use his S on Toharoa's? Or should he knock out the triple-triple? Nigel's random rack probably won't threaten him very much. He may elect to leave the triple-triple on. Maybe more worried about Nigel having an S. None have played it right now.
Might be worried about an S. There's the randomness of pulling something like the Z or the J out of the pool right after Toharoa to get some cheap points as well. So I would say maybe, given that both are vulnerable for different reasons, the triple-triple and the bottom, I might go for the bottom just because there's a few more worst-case scenarios that can happen.
Yeah, I'm going for the bottom as well. Two pays, as Jason points out. Yep, chat seems to all agree, so we think a row 15 play for Dave is optimal here. here.
There we go.
He agrees.
Nice play.
So, who's spotted the 8 for Nigel Richards? Not the easiest one for an expert player. Certainly expected knowledge, but not basic by any means. The blank. Well, main door, says Rick Kennedy, plays only, however, for face value in the E column.
Yes, Colin, this is round 38. If you are not seeing the live stream from this round for some reason, just click on the Causeway Scrabble Challenge link to the main channel in YouTube and look for a live now notification there.
And Nigel pops down the 8 before it gets spoiled in the chat. There you have it, codomain with its anagram of monoacid.
Nice.
And that's a bingo exchange that seems to have marginally favoured Dave on the scoreboard. So he's well within striking distance here. Both blanks are burned, but 3 S's available, and only 70 points to catch up, with plenty of bingo alleys on this board and all sectors in play. Points available on row 14 for Dave here. Something like Marvy, which doesn't allow any bingo counterplay. Looks quite nice to me.
Keeps the K for scoring on future turns here. Yeah, Marvy's looking like a nice one to me.
And not a great draw for Nigel there. Although he has theatral, does he not?
Nigel has theatral, yes, says Kenji.
I spotted that too. And that's going to be really helpful. Keeping GR. Wow. Doesn't look great, but it's going to be really, really useful. Points. Going to put him best part of 100 up. Dave will score. It's 37, so the expected exchange of moves will put Nigel a further 20 points to the good, which is a 90-point lead.
Suggestion from Oliver Jenner O'Shea for Volk in row 4. I wouldn't do it, but it's, yeah, you're right, it's not a bad option, but I think Marvy just accomplishes a little bit more.
Marvy's the better choice in terms of board management. Dave would prefer not to immobilize those lines and that whole region of the board in the way that a V positioned at D4 would do. He then may well find himself at a future point in the game having to expend tiles and at low value to open that back up. Eco domain. Wouldn't that be great?
Hi Susan, welcome back. It is the core team of Jesse Matthews and Chris May. We are by default the 2 commentators for this event, but once in a while we have had Andrew Fisher on the headset when either myself or Chris have stepped out briefly, and then besides that, we've also had David Eldar very briefly in studio earlier in the tournament, but now that he is in contention, I sincerely doubt he'll be coming by.
Very interested to see that Dave has gone for Volk.
Susan, Esther still had a pretty good day, but unfortunately in the last round she played Alistair, and Alistair pummeled her by over 200, if I recall correctly. So after a really nice string of wins for Esther, suffering a pretty big loss, but she is well in the hunt. if I recall correctly in the standing, she should be in 4th or 5th.
Yeah, she's still in the top group of 5 players. Interested in the chat's response to Dave's choice of Volk over Marvy. To my mind, that's a bit of an error. Almost the most inaccurate play we've seen from him in some time, positionally. What do you guys reckon? Am I being too harsh, or am I just misjudging the position? And of course, Nigel does not miss the actual, as was suggested in the chat. There was no way that was ever going to happen. So, pressure on Dave. $81 points down. I misadded theatral as well. It didn't score 56. Don't know what I was thinking. So the scoreboard pressure is a bit less than I thought. Right, so there's a divided opinion in the chat as between Volk and Marvy. Must not be so clear cut as I had thought.
He could have played a hat, says Ed.
Yeah, it's a shame he didn't. Kind of chewy rack for David Eldar. They're very flexible letters and lots of kind of cagey little balancey scoring options, and column 14 row. He can play things like money on row 12. All of these things put him within striking distance with bingos available. Just wondering if there are some heavy letter plays he needs to be worried about. 14F looks threatening at first glance, but actually you can't really maximise the Z or the J down there. W's could be played for big points at F10 at some stage. Could be relevant. And actually it's a pretty complex middle game position. Don't think there's an obvious standout play that I'm drawn to here. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm not finding anything that hugely stands out either. I was looking, of course, for immediate plays like money that score well underneath theatral, but IR I'm not so sold on. Mayo is a decent option here from Eldar.
Mayo to create bingo lines from Dave.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. He keeps a nice lead of E, I, and R and creates those bonus lines. Plus the T is already open as another bonus line.
Yeah.
And the C for IC words, codomains I and N. Yeah, it's a nice one.
Absolutely. It's a very clear strategy. Nigel, of course, knows what that's about. Dave gets free on, so.
Oof. We like that. Trouble is, can Nigel actually do anything there?
Looking around the board, I feel like Freond is the only bingo play that Dave's sitting on. I expect Nigel has no doubt what that move is about from Dave.
Yeah, because you look at that, you think, okay, well, why not yam? Is the first thing when you see the points there. So you have to deduce several things. One is that he needs to get rid of a vowel, but two, besides that, even if he did need to get rid of a vowel, he's opening the board in a way that's hard to block unless you intentionally do when you're behind. So I'm almost like, I don't think he's going to play Cog, but I would very briefly think about it as something to get rid of his clunkers. Now I'm going to do something else, I think. Grice, maybe. No, that still leaves the bottom. That's interesting. I'm thinking out loud here. There's no real easy way to deal with it.
A vertical play through the L, going down at least as far as the 14 row might be on here, I think. Even something as basic as glare.
There's Gurley as well. No, it doesn't reach. Never mind.
Glaire has to be very much in the picture here for Nigel, keeping IC. I think that's what I'm going to advocate. I think Nigel must defend against that threat. Or are we just, are we weighting that bingo line too heavily, guys? I mean, there are bingo lines elsewhere on the board that will be untouched here, so is Nigel forced to defend, taking the position as a whole?
Chin Shah is suggested by Joel Sherman. It's interesting, it certainly scores, and it looks like that is what Nigel is. Well, China, okay, similar idea, opting for points. Nice break for Eldar as he gets free on very quickly. I don't think he's going to have to wait too long for that.
And Eldar comes storming back, leveling the scores at 3:45 apiece.
And Ed earlier in the chat is like, "Yes, Eldar, slay us!" I can totally hear you saying that.
Nice Z pickup for Nigel, he'll like that. And he's got at the very minimum things like Grise at 12A, and I haven't really looked at the board yet, so maybe there's other good stuff too. Again, interested in the chat's thoughts on China. I think that I would have defended there with L10 Glare. I've been pretty scared by Dave's play.
David Eldar has Jelly for the L in Theatral, assuming it's not blocked. Ed says, I only typed it in the hope you would say it, Jesse. Well, there you go. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, Dave will be hoping that Jelly stays available. He's very much ready for that Jelly.
Yes, I love that. I totally caught you doing that. I don't think you're ready for this Jelly. Michael Plow, I'm assuming you were perhaps a few minutes behind. In which case, I'm guessing you're not going to hear me saying this for a few minutes anyway, so I don't know why I bothered.
Who's found a good play for Nigel here? Grise was the first thing I said, and it's what's going down on the board.
But yeah, that's going to leave Jelly for David Eldar, and I'm not going to see much reason to hesitate on that. It scores well.
So this is a dead level game, and it's going to go in a close late game position here.
Nigel with the dreadful pickup. 2 W's.
Yeah, not a good draw for Nigel.
Yeah, this one's still looking pretty straightforward for David, just to drop Jelly.
Yep. We'll see what Nigel makes of these W's. So real close game here between these two top players. Classically, Nigel would want to rid himself of that WWP stuff on his rack. At the very least, play 2 of them, ideally with WoW keeping IPST. But I'm not seeing a great spot for WoW, so he's certainly not getting it his way really on this turn. His vowels don't really go with the opportunities on the board.
A few suggestions. Joel Sherman says toe, it, zo, and 2. Louis Mackay says waff and wow as an option as well. Jason Katz Brown says twist and volk, so there's a variety of suggestions that are going here. Kenji says why not just play whist and hold the T back.
Yeah, those are four very different suggestions. Hadn't spotted the wow play on WAF. That's the classical equity solution. But maybe PIST isn't so highly rated here. That's something more creative's indicated. Don't mind twist. I think TOW is my least preferred of those suggestions, simply because of the PW key. I think the observation in the chat that most players would go for WOW and WAF is true. That's the play that you know is solid in terms of basic heuristics. Interesting to see if he's got ends to draw to. He's got two, and he might like that. Keeping the S for H4 for future use as a scoring play rather than opening up that sector right now.
Keeping the eye, of course, saves the possibility of ing words for him after WoW. That's one more in his favor. Twist is a very creative move, given that he holds the final of the T's.
Yeah. I don't know, I think I'm a little biased against setups when I don't think that they're necessary. And I don't think that one is. I think there's nothing really wrong with WOW.
Yeah, I don't think the score is so desperate you have to do whist at this point, although I do like the creativity of it as a suggestion.
Me too, but I think no reason to panic here, and I'd probably just make the boring play. And look
Looks
here,
like he's going to do it.
The setup from Nigel Richards. Kenji likes whist, suggested it, and he's not the only one. So here we go. We've got a setup battle here, and this is going to be really fun.
So what has Nigel got? He's got W for sure, and something else.
Q. Q. So this game got real. TWP, of course, is a play that Nigel's got.
Yeah. And
well,
doesn't do a whole lot to clutter that up other than preventing bonuses.
And one of the things I always realize about setups once they get played is that they absolutely seize the board initiative, and they just force the opponent to do something that they might not have wanted to do. Dave is going to feel like Nigel's got a stronger rack than Nigel actually has. Dave's range finding is probably going to be a lot more favourable than the TOPW that we know Nigel actually kept.
Yeah, and Valid, I would agree, Kenji is the one I was leaning towards after looking a bit longer. I would probably play Valid.
We think David Eldar is a bit low on time actually. He'd used more than half his time less than halfway through the game, so guys in the crew, it would be great to get a shot of the clocks. And we can see just how long Dave Eldar has to puzzle out this position. Thank you, he's at 8 minutes 30. And he may well feel that this game is likely to head into an endgame as well, so he's going to want to bank a bit of time for that. So he's under some significant time pressure here.
And yeah, Rick, I was going to say the same thing. Valid still lets you fish in a sense for ing words, so that makes me lean towards it as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with the emerging consensus in favour of Valid here. An imperfect block though, and Dave is going to be pretty nervous putting it down, or putting anything down, I think. Nigel may well choose to hold on that setup for another turn or two as well. Get rid of his Q. So I think we're all on tenterhooks here, waiting to see how this game resolves. 10 in the bag. Dave's probably going to bring it down to 7 with player valid. And we really don't know what Nigel thinks, whether he thinks he needs to use his setup immediately or whether he's going to deal with his Q trouble with something like QIN first. The score's so close that neither player probably feels they need to play defensively.
There we go, there's valid. Nice play. The X.
The X comes into the game to complicate things even more.
That leaves him Nix. He has Nix through the iron diatribe for a lot of points.
Yeah. And it's such a complex position, we can't possibly commentate our way through it in real time. Nigel clearly does feel that he's obliged to take those points on the setup rather than leaving it hanging with a play of QIN. Probably felt that with QIN he wasn't going to get anything better there anyway, whereas there are U's in the pool unseen to him, so his Q could certainly improve.
So David, actually, I was saying Nix at first, but he might actually play 6 instead to leave Ingward possibilities. Lewis Mackay suggests just Linux instead. I'm not seeing where you're looking for Linux, Lewis.
I think he might have been saying it was good in the word list rather than suggesting.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
So Nigel's Q hasn't improved. He's got 38 points to play with. Dave can overhaul that if he chooses with a big X play. Pool not that great from Dave's point of view, but he knows there's an unseen Q-U combo to worry about.
So he's going to play Nix. He's abandoning going for Ingwards, it looks like, and just going in favor of keeping that S, which does have some scoring power on the board.
I think so, and when you're under a bit of time pressure, that's the basic heuristic, and I think very understandable play there, if not actually best. And Nigel in some trouble, I'd say. 13 points to the bad, only one decent Q spot, and that Q spot is going to leave him going second in a 7-on-7 endgame. Dave would be favourite to win that.
Especially with Nigel stuck with the Q. So there's Chin through the Iron Grise as an immediate play that stands out to use the Q, but that empties the bag, of course. There's a few spots for QI where it leaves 1 in the bag. David would need an open end for Sayurine. Eldar has cursed to the D and Freon for some points immediately, which are certainly important in this endgame. At least 2 eyes, which is terrible. So it's probably something better.
If that's his endgame rack, he might not like that.
Cruiser is being touted in the pool, and that is valid, yeah.
Of course, QIN blocks that.
Oh, it is his go, too.
Is it?
I thought it was Nigel's go. I'm confused now.
I'm fairly sure it's Nigel's go. Guys in the crew, if you could just let's have a view of the clock so we can see which one's ticking. We believe it's actually Nigel's turn here. Thank you.
Yeah, it is on Nigel.
Nigel Richards thinking. And there is the chance he could hold his Q with the 2 unseen U's as well. Otherwise, the options would appear to be QIN for 24 and a face value dump to leave 1 in the bag of just his Q. Nigel, of course, is going to realise that Cruiser is an option in the unseen tiles, and that may just force him to play QIN, I think. As we know, that's going to be his only chance of a win here.
Kenji is suggesting Enol at 13B, I believe, to try and draw Squeg. It's a cool idea.
Very cool idea. Yeah, I mean, QIN is pretty horrible. Nigel's not going to be favourite to win that endgame. So something imaginative like Enol very much gains in credibility. Nigel's probably capable of permitting this all the way with 2 in the bag.
We've seen how good he's been in other cases of figuring these pre-end games out, so...
With 11 minutes on the clock. Yeah, and the other option is just QI at C11, as just been pointed out by Noeen. That's a crafty little play.
Yeah, to set up Enol in the same spot the next turn.
Of course, with an unseen S to him.
That will get taken immediately.
Yeah. And in the end...
Oh, he is. He is playing it.
Well, Nigel Richards always surprises you, doesn't he? So he manages to block Dave's bingo, and he's pulled a G. It's a G. Awesome.
He's got leg on to the G to clear some letters on his next turn, but I think Eldar is forced. Obviously, he's forced to block it, so he's got to play like ES or something to maximize his scoring. That just leaves him in trouble balancing his letters after.
I hadn't actually realised that Dave has no possible vowels to go on row 13 under the Z.
Mm-hmm.
So Nigel's play looks quite healthy, actually. As usual, he pulls out a nice play that we hadn't really realised was an option until right before he did it.
It's looking like a fairly straightforward ES and QIS to me.
Do you think so?
If he doesn't block that, he's losing.
Is he absolutely losing?
Oh, let's see. 4, 5, 6, 16, 32, 33, 43, 44. That's 46 points.
Right, so Dave would need to go out in 2 here with about sort of 36 points in total.
Very tough to do.
Pretty tough to do, yeah. We can get 30 in column N, leaving some in 2 eyes. And that probably ain't gonna do it. So this game has been an absolute treat, hasn't it? What an absorbing encounter this has been.
Quackle is suggesting Erucic or Rukic or something like this in the top right.
Oh, that's a lovely find.
That's an extremely difficult spot.
Yeah, seriously.
Three minutes left on David's clock and 9 on Nigel's.
Just very quickly doing the maths. How much did you say Nigel's play scored on row 13 if it's left undisturbed? 46, right?
46, I believe. 4, 5, 6, 16, 32, 33, 43. Yeah, 46.
That's SOG.
Enol. E-N-O-L.
Oh, Enol. Oh, right.
Oh, he's found it.
That's a brilliant bit of board vision from David Eldar. I mean,
he's found it. Nice
whether or
play.
not that's the optimal play, that is a superb bit of finding over the board.
Wow.
And I'm just wondering about IS. I think it maybe doesn't quite get enough. I was just trying to do that out in 2 with IS.
So he's got AUS, it looks like, is his final rack. He's got Sui. Where it plays is the question, but it's a gorgeous play by David Eldar.
So 10N IS is the play I was looking at trying to calculate. Oh right, but he's drawn the U of course as well.
Yeah, he just needs a good spot to play Sui to hold on for this win. Or something using those letters. There goes Eno.
and that may be a death blow from Nigel Richards.
Well, it's 4-8, so you can add 8 to a score. At 95, you need to score 14.
Right, 14 to tie it.
And 8 loses.
Suid at N12 doesn't do it either. He might try theatrals as a desperation. It's not good.
Theatrals is no good, Noeen.
Yeah, I think we'd all try theatrals.
If you're going to lose otherwise, then yeah, you can't blame him.
So Nigel with the whist setup and then the QI setup sets his way up to victory. And I think we can all agree that that's as high quality a game as we could ever hope to see in tournament play. What a wonderful game that was.
I think it wins, I don't know how often, not with the U obviously, but I think it gives him a really good chance at going out with some score. Let's see. Luis Mackay says Cesar. Very good.
So stunning bit of positional play from Nigel Richards and really equally solid, excellent play from David Eldar. Rutsik was an absolutely brilliant find under time pressure, and the chat seems to think that it was about a 50-50 shot of a victory as well.
Am I looking at the board wrong, where there's just cues and diatribes maybe, just to get score and just accept the loss?
He's trying theatrals.
Yeah, he has to.
Good play. No dice. And I think this is the game of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
There was so much to talk about in this game that we didn't get even 5% of the way into these positions. I think if anyone is ever in search of a game to play through and teach them about positional Scrabble, this is the one if I've ever seen it. So many complex decisions, and handled wonderfully well by both players under analysis and live annotation.
And they're going to go check it, of course.
Nigel challenges.
It's the best game.
This one is the best game, absolutely. We've got Michael Tang in the background. Hey, Michael, while they're going to go check, I'll give you the headset so you can weigh in on your thoughts watching the last 2 games of this one.
Hi everyone, I must say this is an awesome game, although I'm not at that level yet.
Were you watching on the big screen elsewhere in the playing room?
Yeah, I was outside with big screen, so I just come
So-
into the studio to see the live action.
Yeah, so what the players on the feed probably don't realise yet, because I don't think we've mentioned it, is that Michael has also set the stream up on a big screen inside the playing room with a viewing area so that the players from the tournament can go and watch the same feed that you guys are and see what's going on board one once they've finished their own games.
Yeah, so I think that area is quite popular because the other sections they tend to finish early, so they get to watch the world's best player in action.
So it's a really classy setup here for live coverage at the Causeway Challenge. So thanks, Michael, for setting that up for us and letting us be involved. We really appreciate it. And I think you can see from the comments in the chat feed that everyone's really enjoying this play.
Yeah, so I'm glad that players from around the world enjoy it. So I understand that people are watching it. I got a message, someone's watching it on the plane, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's commitment right there. They're watching on airplane Wi-Fi.
Hi, Jason. Caspar, when are you coming back to Scrabble? Okay, I gotta go. So I hope the next game will be an even better game. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. It's hard to imagine how a better game is even possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be possible to beat this one today. Thank you, Michael, for coming in to to provide some insight on what's happening. And Jason, you're certainly, please come back, commentate, add some perspective. I would love to get back to playing again and not always be in the booth. So, yep, by all means, replace me, beat me, be better than me. I'll never have to do it again.
So I think we'll wrap this one up. As we see, Nigel Richards has emerged the winner after an absolutely gripping contest, and I believe that we're going to see them go head-to-head one more time today. Nigel, with that win, retakes the tournament lead from David Eldar. A game ahead, still behind on spread, so it's anyone's tournament. The lead has not advanced that much in the last few games, giving the field a little bit of a chance to threaten.
Yeah, so it's been the person pulling ahead getting pulled back the entire time, and now we're seeing Nigel emerge to a place of possibly pulling ahead. So if the trend continues, he'll get pulled back down next game, but you'll just have to wait and see. Until then, just to quickly answer Naween's question, no, the comments are not seen on the big screen. It's just the actual feed projected, and then the comments we only see in our booth. We're going to come back here in about 15 minutes' time for the final game of the day. And this is the last day. We have 10 games. It'll be 6 tomorrow. So this is our last marathon day. Thanks for being with us here, guys. We'll be back in 15 minutes.
52 rooms have to check out tomorrow. So there are 52 rooms.